which has been empty for months. But we're having a good time. Bandcamp has been so amazing, and the fan response has been so amazing on these days where they waive their fees. And we have so many fun things happening. We have new records dropping a week early from Nir Felder and Eric Binder. We have a new track up from Narducci. We have a new video from Kin for Life. We have several other singles out today. We've got some new vinyl from Ansala Saraka. So we've been able to put together some good things. And just want to say, like, you know, it's been a really challenging few months for everybody on the planet, I can imagine. It's been especially challenging for artists. And, you know, it's a roller coaster, but I've noticed lately with some people when they call and be like, how are you? And I say, great, you know. It's so important to keep a positive attitude, and we're working hard at doing that. And I just want to send out some, you know, some care and love and positive energy for everybody. So sit back, we're going to have some fun. We're going to jump onto a Zoom call with David Whitman and IQ and Nor from Kin for Life down in Atlanta, and of course the great Fabian Brown. So let's dive in. Swapping out the mic. Hello, hello.
Hey, Lewis.
Fabian Brown, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I got a little wires and cables here. Gonna swap things out. There we go. All right. It's a sunny day in Philadelphia. Welcome, Mr. Brown.
Great to be here, Lewis. Thanks for having us again.
All right. And I'm going to take a quick check and make sure that everyone involved was able to go ahead and share this across socials.
I'm currently doing it. It's taken time because I'm also watching live streams I did this morning with thousands of people who are watching my morning live stream. And it's bogging down my Facebook.
The price of celebrity, David.
So is that what you call it? Yeah, I'm about as celebrity as a shoe.
I'd like to jump over to IQ and Nor down in Atlanta. I just want to have a, you know, how are you two? We haven't spent time.
I'm doing good over here. We staying out the way, trying to self-quarantine as much as possible. Georgia is on one of the top 14 states right now for COVID, and it's just been crazy down here. So we just keeping it separate, keeping it low key.
Staying locked in the studio. I can't complain. So all right.
Yes.
You're in your sanctuary.
That's right.
Yeah.
Say it again, people in the back.
You're in your sanctuary. I'm gonna just check mine here. Just a little slow. Everything's moving a little slowly today. What's going on?
It's a holiday.
Oh, everybody's at home? I mean, where was everybody before? I thought everybody was already at home.
Obviously not staying home because COVID wouldn't be running rampant if people were at home. They not doing what they're supposed to do.
I don't mess around. I got a sign on my driveway that says no mask, no entry.
That's right.
Can't even come on the property.
But
don't blame you.
Don't forget, guys, all the people that's working from home, like my wife and on those conference calls all day, they don't have to do that today. So now they're online doing what they want to do.
Oh,
so
I see.
Work from home, you're off today. They logged in. There you go.
All right, I've found this. I found Mr. Jerome Brown live. So let's. Okay. All right, that's looking good. Just want to check real quick. Are we able to share this out to Atlanta Records Facebook page? Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. This is great. I see Matt Silverman Narducci has joined us. Hello.
Hello.
We got Los Angeles.
You can't see me in the window, but as long as you can.
We'll work on that. We're going to start this off in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, cool.
Kin for Life, if you're not familiar, what an exciting and progressive and energetic duo these two are. There's a video that has dropped today, and we're gonna start there. I'm gonna turn the mic over to Mr. Fabian Brown. We'll talk a little bit about how this was made and what this is all about.
Love it, love it. First of all, just thank both you guys for making time. I know your schedule is crazy busy.
Yes.
We really appreciate you making some time, here for us and then for all the people in live on Facebook world. A couple questions. So you had a release today, Black in America, Black spelled with 3 Ks at the end of that one, and that obviously evokes a lot of emotions and a lot of questions I have, right? The first thing I want to jump into, what's the concept of the track? What's the concept of this song? How did it originate? Tell me a little bit about the essence of what you're trying to communicate to the people with this track.
No, you want to take?
Yeah, I can start off. I want to give a shout out, number one, to the producer of the track, Marcy Music. We were actually in the studio over there with our Q at Kin Factory Studios and just going through a bunch of different tracks, and he played this one song for us that just had these really sad, just like emotional pianos in it. And the minute we heard it, we just sing it. Black in America. Black in America. I mean, immediately we came up with the concept. And this was about like 2016. So it's been quite some time since we came up with the whole concept. We recorded the record back in that time. We shot the video and everything, but we just never put it out. And IQ, you can expand on that a little bit more.
I mean, if I really remember the time and place, it was like right after Michael Brown. I remember going home and my nephew might have been 12 at the time, and my sister was teaching him how to hold his hands up what to do when police officers stop you. And I was so floored that was his project. And then we had already been here making that record, and when we recorded the video, it was in the great city of Atlanta. There was so much energy and around us. And shout out to Mike. Shout out to Mike's Focus Twin Lenses for the camera work. He did his thing, and we just wanted to tell that story of what it felt like to be Black in America. We've been a group for over 20 years. We've been on the road for over 15.
And we've been Black all our lives.
Get stopped. You know how many times we have gotten stopped?
On the way to a show, on the way to shows, getting stopped. And I tell you guys, we were in New York City one day, and we were with our band. Our band was right behind us with a van full of guitars and drum sets and everything. And we came from a corner store where I purchased some Tic Tacs. NYPD jumps out, guns in our faces. I wasn't even driving, and I had a gun to my head because I gave my friend some Tic Tacs, okay? My best friend sat in the front seat, IQ, and cried because she thought we were all going to be killed by the NYPD. We have this on film. Somebody was in the backseat filming. Shout out to Bella Soul. She was in the back filming the whole experience. So, and that's just one story. I mean, we have so many stories of our experience about being Black in America. So we just tried to put that all into this one record and give people just a little bit of insight of what it's like to be us.
Wow.
Why don't we take a look at it and come back and chat about it some more? Is that a good timing? Good segue?
Yes, perfect.
All right.
Black in America, I'm Black in America. Although my president's Black, it's a fact, it's hard being Black in America. Cops bust gats in America, kill unarmed Blacks in America. There's a new strange fruit, blood in the streets. We mobbing for peace, they calling us thugs. We teaching our sons to put their hands up, to put away pride and come home alive. That's Black in America. How dare we talk back in America? If I should go while in custody, no, it was not suicide. I swear that to America. I swear that to America. Damn. Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be Black in America. They want us on our backs in America. Black in America. Black in in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. Ronald Reagan gave us crack in America. They're jealous of our melanin. That's why they wanna treat us like a felon. We was in the motherland chillin' when some angry Europeans had the meddle in. Brought us to a country we ain't settling. Packed on these ships like some sardines. Had the head chained up in our own pee. Shit, vomit, dead bodies on me. Only way out was to jump ship. So many black bodies in the damn sea. Just to make it to a place where the slave masters put a price on me. How you gonna put me on the selling block? Now we on the block, resort to sell it right. Hope we getting shot by these crooked cops. When will the bullshit stop? Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. They want us on our backs in America. Black in America. Black in America. Man, it's hard to be black in America. Ronald Reagan gave us crack in America.
All right. We are back. Fabian?
Amazing. Thanks for getting that queued up. I really appreciate that. You know, a lot of questions. Again, when you watch that video, there's a lot of things that, a lot of emotions that get evoked. You know, what's the message that you want to let the community of people know about this track? What's the one take? What's the resonating message that you want people to leave when after they hear that piece of music?
To be honest, like what the emotion that I want people to feel is that we just want to. Do you understand what it feels like that when we leave the house, there's a fear from the people that we love, that we're not guaranteed to come back home. And I want you to think about what it would feel like if you're not a person of color, that every time the person that you love left the house, that they didn't feel comfortable with calling the police that's supposed to protect them. Understand what that feels like. And if maybe you could feel that with us, you would
Right.
understand where there's change that needs to be done.
Exactly. And just to add on to what she said, exactly, just understanding. And that's why in each verse, you hear IQ talking about the current time. And in my verse, you hear me talking about the past and how we even got here. And it's just really a cry for understanding. Well, you don't need to give us any money. You don't have to come stand next to us. You don't have to do anything for us. Just understand why we have PTSD. Understand why we are hurt. Understand what we went through just to even be here and what it's taken for us to stay here. And that's all we're crying for is understanding. That's it.
And just
you don't have to agree, just understand.
Agree, knowing just to build on what she said. I love what she said when she said, we don't need you to do anything for us, but we don't want you to do anything to us.
Yes.
If I'm walking down the street, it is not your right to do something to me when I'm just breathing the same air that you're breathing. Right. I don't need anything special. I don't need you to do anything special to me. Let us just live. Let us walk. Let us breathe. That's it.
So powerful. I want to just quickly add to that without taking away from the power of what you both just expressed, because it's a little different than what we hear on the news or some spokespeople saying, right? That was a very human, compassionate statement. I've been having conversations with family members and friends. You know, this is a topic of conversation, and where it goes in our, in our dining room table conversation, which is actually out in the lawn now, is, well, what about the statues and what about our history and all this? So when you say understand, it's very hard for people, and I'm not saying this with any sense of compassion for them, but it's hard for people when they've been told a narrative again and again and again and again and again on the news to get their heads out of that and start to understand. And all I've been saying to people, because I want to get angry and I want to yell about it and I want to say, what the hell? Who cares about a statue? Like, when do you see that statue? Like, you never visited that thing. It doesn't mean anything. It didn't go up until 1900 and something, you know?
Right.
It's not real history. It's, you know, I mean, it is, but it's not for you. But so I kind of have been walking away, but now I'm starting to approach it with a sort of a calming kind of like, hey, look, just give it some time. It's going to be all right. Just take a little time to get your head around it, you know. So just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, I think change for people is something that people tend to resist by nature. You know, it's just like, for instance, you've been living in the same house with your mom and you're a teenager, and suddenly she tells you, "Hey, you got to move to a different room in the house." Most teenagers are going to throw a fit. I got to move to a different room. I've been in this room for 15 years. Why do I have to move now? But they move into the next room, and over time they get used to it. They grow to love it. They like the view just a little bit better. It's a little bit better for the AC. The sun is hitting at a better angle. So just give it a chance. Yes, you may resist it at first, and it might seem like it's going to be uncomfortable for you, but it might wind up being the blessing you was waiting on. So just go with the flow, because the change is going to happen. It's inevitable. And
It's
that's why we have so much turmoil, because people are resisting it. But just relax, take the path of least
Yeah.
resistance and chill.
And I just need to say one thing, and the change is happening now. One thing I want to say is that, you know, my grandmother is in her late 70s, about to go into her 80s, and I just started asking her this past couple years, tell me the story about my family, my history. Why you didn't tell me? Like, I know we're from New York, but we can't be from New York for real. I just learned 2 years ago we're from Camden, South Carolina, but my grandmother was born in Harlem. So I need you to understand that in the summertime, she went to Camden and picked cotton. So I need you guys to stop telling us to get over it, because I could call her right now. And the reason why she didn't tell me about her childhood, because it was the things that happened in her childhood, what she felt were detrimental. She didn't want to share that with me. As an adult, I want to hear that. She's alive. Stop telling us to get over it. It's not that long ago.
It's not.
Some
It's
understanding.
not.
My grandmother picked cotton for the summer. She's in Mount Vernon, New York right now. It's not a long time ago. And that's it.
Yep. Yep.
The second, second, third generation out of the Reformation. We ain't gonna go history on them today. Let's keep it focused.
All right. Well, I want to break for a quick second and let people know who are just tuning in. First of all, to say thank you for joining us, but also that we're gathering today to talk with a few artists on what is yet another Bandcamp fee-free Friday, where they give their share of revenue to labels and artists directly. I want to commend this company for doing this on a regular basis when larger companies have not really stepped up to support. This is really important kind of grassroots thing, and we're working very hard to build it up. So do go to ropeadope.bandcamp.com. At the top of the banner, you will see also the imprints that are associated with Ropeadope. One of those imprints is Artist First Records, Black woman-owned record label, maybe the first that I know, at least, run by Melody Forrester here in the great city of Philadelphia. That's where you can find Kin for Life in the Artist First Records Bandcamp page. And then also, you know, back at the Ropeadope page, you can browse many of the Ropeadope artists and find some of the perks that we have today. You know, support is huge. It is so much more important to buy a download and an album than it is to just stream. I mean, do both, you know, but these artists need that revenue. So we're gonna move on a little bit here in the middle of this program, and let's say hello to Mr. David Whitman in San Diego, California. David, how are you?
I'm really doing great, Louis. Thanks for asking. I'm very privileged to be here. And might I just add also that being in the same room with these other artists and being able to be a fly on the wall and listen to their testament was a very powerful thing. And I hope I shared the stream in a number of ways on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. And I hope that all of my, my white family and brothers and sisters in Wisconsin, in places where, they don't know about these things and they don't have these experiences and they need to be listening. I hope that they were listening. And I really appreciate my fellow artists for their contributions today. Yeah.
So thank you. You've had you also have some other information that to share with us, and I want to say thank you for being willing to come on and discuss this. In the last couple of meetings, you've made it a point to say, uh, don't believe the hoax people, that COVID is very real. Would you like to talk about your recent experiences with this disease?
Yes. Well, at the time that this lockdown came on, I was working full time as a classroom teacher, and at that point in time, even then, I could tell that not everybody was believing the news they were hearing about the severity of the COVID-19 crisis and the pandemic and what a pandemic is and what that means. And I feel like I have a good handle on that. I took it seriously right away, and I was just hoping and praying that I wouldn't be part of the inevitable group of people that would suffer personal losses. Unfortunately, I was not part of that group. And I think early on, my great aunt in the Chicago area in a nursing home passed away from COVID. And then just at the beginning of June, my grandmother, who admittedly had been deteriorating due to Alzheimer's, she passed away due to COVID. And then my grandfather passed away due to COVID, diagnosed COVID deaths, dying from COVID in their beds, very painful deaths. So my grandmother passed away on June 13th, and I was able to call and leave messages, but you can't visit. I haven't been able to mourn with my family, and it's been tough. And on top of that, the same day my grandmother passed away, a dear mentor of mine, Ron Keyser, in Wisconsin, who his son Jeffrey Keyser was a jazz messenger. Ron Keyser taught so many thousands of people about jazz over the years, and a wonderful man. He passed away. I don't know that it was from COVID, but it's a lot of loss, and there were a lot of factors going into that. And he was very excited about his 80th birthday party that everybody who's anybody in music was going to be going to, and I was looking forward to it, and I love him very much. And he was not able to have that party. And then there's Ellis Marsalis in New Orleans. I went to school in Mississippi, and a lot of my dear friends played with him, and they taught me about jazz and about music and people through what they learned from Ellis. And I saw his impact, and so many others. So yes, personally, I've been feeling a lot of heavy losses, and Fox or ABC or both did a little story last week on this musician in San Diego who was coping with his losses through music, because I had made this video that you're going to be showing. And the really tragic thing, or the thing that made it so personal for me, was that I started making this video with my dear friend Jason Kraft in Minneapolis to contribute to church, my own personal church here in San Diego. And the song is called I Had a Friend, and it's a trombone feature on my new record, Soul Flow, which is out now on Ropeadope Records. And Francisco Torres, anytime you've ever gone to a movie recently, you've been hearing him play, and not just because he's an impeccable technical musician, but because every time he plays with heart and soul, every single note. And on this particular recording, if you listen to it from the record, you're going to really feel that. But that song, I made a video of that for my church. And before I had a chance to finish it, the very day that Jason, the organist, sent me his part, I found out that my grandmother had passed away from COVID. And I don't think I mentioned yet, or maybe I did. It's kind of tough to talk about, but the song was written for my grandmother Beverly Whitman, who passed from COVID.
Hmm.
Built based on the harmony from "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," which was her favorite song.
Shall we cue that up now then?
That would be great.
Excellent. Thank you, David. All right, we're back. Very powerful testimonial and video presentation from Mr. David Whitman, who has really experienced some heavy loss through this pandemic. Um, David, I would love to for you to share um, the transformation, the way that you take the power of that death experience and turn it to positivity, because you're always up, you always have good, kind, nice things to say, and you keep your energy going. What's what's your method?
Uh, well, Lewis, I kind of, I'm almost not happy that you asked me that question, because that's one that I haven't been looking forward to sharing, that I keep close to my heart all the time. But, I feel like, I tell you, man, I'm a sinner, like everybody else, but I feel like I was put on this planet to spread a little light and a little bit of love, and born to make music. But I think the light and the love comes first. So that's always driven my music making. It's difficult to talk about that because I'm a union musician and a professional, and some some sentiments are maybe not considered professional in certain contexts, but um, that drives me to my core. And if I can help somebody who's lost their loved one and they can't be at a funeral because of COVID, if they listen to my video and if they grieve with me and they feel a little bit better, and they get that they let some of that out and we can grieve a little bit together in this situation. I think that that's the best outcome that an artist could hope for.
It's wonderful. Thank you, David, and apologies for putting you on the spot there.
Okay, thanks
I
for having
think
me.
that people can see how real that is. Um, it has always really amazed me in both of these issues that we're discussing today. Um, it has always amazed me what musicians do. Um, and it's basically looking at the world, stepping away from it for in a certain way, having a different kind of a life, and then tuning into the hardship, the struggles, and the joy of the world, and then getting that somehow into a form of communication, that the music itself, for other people to enjoy. It's like, it seems like um, such a life of serving the greater community, and that's kind of, you know, what I follow, and that is, well, if you're hearing this joy, or able to transform a struggle into a positive song, or an energetic song, or a calm and loving song, um, th- and that's what you're following, then I should just follow along too. And that's kind of our mantra here, is just like, serve this greater process and the people who are in the midst of it. So big, big thank you and vote of appreciation for what you do and what you are as a result, and to everyone else in the room and out there who's making music. I think that I'd like to appeal to people who are watching and listening and say, like, we say it. We're like, music is so important, music is essential. But now we're talking about the real core of it, right? We're talking about people who are dedicated to transforming all of this negativity and weird messages that the world has to offer, that life has to offer, and turning into something beautiful. And the same goes for visual artists, artists in general. So, we can say how much we appreciate it, but these are the times to step up and want to. There's never been a more time of immediate financial need for musicians. So, purchasing is good. But I want to tell you what else happens, because most artists have had all of their touring canceled, and part of the thing that I think gets keeps them going is seeing the responses from individuals, and artists can't see that now. Can't see the crowd cheer, can't see the effect directly of what the music is doing. So even by just going to Bandcamp and following, or communicating on social media, or sharing the music, that's like a little, at least it's what you can do, is message back to the artist that they're appreciated. uh, David, is there anything else that you'd like to add around this?
Yeah, maybe just one little thing, and thank you for your sentiments there. I don't want to I don't want to offend anybody's sensibilities too much, but if this offends your sensibilities, I think you should reconsider your sensibilities.
Let's go.
ABC and Fox, or both, or some of them, or whoever, I'm not sure, did a story on this particular video, and moments after they posted the video or their story, I was tagged in a comment, and I went to look at the comments, and I was really, I was really devastated with the number of people that immediately hopped on there to proclaim that my grandparents and family did not die from COVID. In a typically politically driven, nonsensical, inflammatory way. And, if you do that, or people who do that, that stuff needs to stop. So, there's no place for that in a world where we treat each other with love and respect. Just like there's no place for putting a gun to a great musician, a person's head,
Mm-hmm.
because you're afraid of them, because you don't have experiences that you need to have, or whatever.
I'm gonna add on top of that and just say, like, if you're a person who does that, take a good look at your reaction system. and what makes you angry. Because if this stuff bothers you and you feel compelled to hurt another person or attack another person just to make yourself feel better, you need help. You need help. And if you don't change your behavior before you get help, then somebody's going to change your behavior for you. And that's what I think is what's happening in this world right now. It's gonna, you're gonna be wearing a mask. Just get used to it. It's just the way it's gonna be.
That's right.
Okay.
At the end of the day, love is the answer. You know, we just got to continue to put that good intention out into the atmosphere, keep making this good music and putting love out there, because that's the only thing that's going to cure any of this.
You know what's funny about love is the answer? It's always the musician, it's always the artist that says that. You know what I mean? And I was having a conversation with a few, well, I thought a few like-minded friends. I'll put it to you that way. You know, and it comes up about leadership. You know, right now and during these times, we're looking. We need a leader. We need someone to guide us and lead us in that direction. And in the absence of having a leader at this time, you know, my request or my hope is that we all find the inner leader within ourselves, and we exude that in our daily actions, our behaviors, our conversations with our friends, our conversations with people who may not be our friends. You know, to be open to hearing different perspectives and ideas, and really filling their hearts with love. And put, look, man, in order for us to move forward, we got to figure this shit out. As a community, as people, we had to figure some stuff out. And
absolutely, and continuing to have these type of conversations and platforms where we can express ourselves as just human beings. This is what helps heal the situation, because people can get your perspective. You know,
I love it.
100%.
I love y'all, man. Everybody, man. I love all y'all, man.
Let's move
Right
up
back at you.
Let's move up the coast a little bit to Los Angeles. Matthew Silberman, you're in LA, correct? AKA
I am.
Narducci.
Narducci, indeed. In
So
sunny LA.
Yeah, we gotta
start
with the name, man. Sorry to jump in like that, but
no,
start
please.
with the name. Narducci.
So
Tell the people.
Narducci, it's a nickname I've had since high school, really, and it started my high school jazz combo. I was fortunate to go to the LA County High School for the Arts. You know, went to school with a lot of great musicians, and we had a jazz combo, and one of the songs that we played that sort of featured me was Nardist by Miles Davis. You know, great tune, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. And so at first I started getting called Nardist the Lion. Then that eventually evolved into Nard for short. And then my buddies and I would watch Sopranos every Sunday. One of my best friends is Italian, his mom's Sicilian, and we would watch Sopranos. She would make, you know, ziti or meatballs or whatever, like some kind of feast. And one day I looked in the credits and saw the name Catherine Narducci, who's the name of one of the actors who played Charmaine Bucco, the chef Artie Bucco's wife. And I just mentioned it after we watched the show, and they just started cracking up. And just since that day, all my friends call me Narducci, and it's been about 20 years now. You know, just stuck with me. And when I was first starting to make music, you know, I went to the new school. I'm traditionally, you know, educated in jazz and saxophone player. And I went, you know, most jazz musicians, we just use our regular name. So I was just going by Matthew Silberman. And then I started getting really deep into producing and electronic music, and was inspired by artists like Flying Lotus and Aphex Twin and just all these amazing producers out there. And I just thought, you know what, I can't really make the music that I'm hearing in my head anymore with just a live band. Like, I need to understand how to get in the computer, how to manipulate sounds, how to, you know, just have any sound at my fingertips, so to speak. And, you know, just in that world and that culture, some people use their, you know, regular names, but it's a lot less common. And it just felt like the natural thing to do was to go to, you know, this long time nickname I've had, Narducci. So, you know, here we are, a few releases in, and really excited to be a part of the Ropeadope team now, and have Journey to Los Angeles coming out with Ropeadope. And just, you know, hearing these conversations from all these amazing artists that spoke before me, and I'm sure will speak after me, it's really inspiring to just hear people's stories and be a part of a community that obviously cares deeply about the music, but also cares about society and making the world a better place. And, we hear stories about, two things that I think have a certain common thread, in that there's a certain denialism with people who don't understand the threat that Black Americans deal with on a daily basis from, police, or just lack of infrastructure in their neighborhoods, like just the echoes of slavery, like the woman previous, I'm sorry if I forget your name, but like someone was saying, it's like it was just a couple of generations ago that this country had slavery, and people are acting like those effects aren't still here today, which is insane. And I think there's a certain common thread with a lot of the people that also are in COVID denialism, where it's like, no, this is happening. People are dying, whether it's people dying from this disease, people dying from cops murdering them. Um, it's happening, and unfortunately, some people seem to not want to admit to it, or it maybe, like, the woman alluded to earlier, it threatens their sense of, it's a change. They have to change their outlook, and that can be scary for people. But we need it, and I do agree with what some of the other artists said, that love is the answer. And I think, like a lot of us, I feel like my mission on this planet, for whatever time I have left, is just to spread as much love as I can through music, and try to open people's minds, open people's ears, challenge people, and just try to make an impact, use the vibrational power of music to just shake things up. And I think this song that we're going to listen to is really a testament to that. It's called Burn Alive, and I feel like it speaks to the fact that if we don't make some changes real soon, we're all going to burn alive. This planet is teetering on the brink. Our society, especially in the States, feels like it's on the brink. So I think, it's really a time for us to look at ourselves hard in the mirror, understand what's happening, make the changes we have to make, and just be honest and truthful. And I think through this, we can rise and be better. And I really do think, some positive change is on the horizon, but it might take some pain to get through it, as it often does. So I'm just grateful to be part of this community and get to share my music with you all.
Excellent. I know Mr. Fabian Brown is also a saxophone player, so
Yes, sir.
I'm fairly certain before we listen to this track that he's going to have a couple of.
Well, it's funny. I had a
questions
chance.
for you.
I had a chance to connect with Matt, aka Narducci, a short time ago when we were launching the release, and just to get to know the vibe. And I'm in a position where I'm fortunate, man. I get to associate with and hang out with and have amazing conversations with some of the best freaking musicians on the planet, and I don't take that lightly. And I know the curation process that Ropeadope has, and it seems to always be people first, right? It's always, you always find that Lewis has a way of always finding good people. And no surprise when I connected with Matt, yet again another great human being that I was on the phone connecting with. And his story, Matt, your story is interesting. Obviously, we spoke a little bit for the context for the people watching live. We spoke a little bit about, your history as a horn player, as a saxophonist, and then the evolution that you went through from, just being, I don't want to say just being a sax player, right? But, that being your gig, that being your acts, and developing other skills, other chops, because that's where your ears were taking you. That's where you were being propelled by something else to move forward in your development, in your musicianship. So I guess for the people who are listening, the question that I have, maybe can you speak a little bit to the process of going from, hey, I'm going to be here. I got my licks, I got my scales, I got my chops, I got my sound, I got my vibe, to, what was the curiosity that pivoted you from just this jazz cat to like doing the, and first, if you guys haven't heard the record, I guess you get one track today. I guess you get one track today, but stay tuned. Yeah. The track is really good. But talk to about the evolution of your musical journey.
Sure. And yeah, it was a great conversation to get to know you. And for me, it really started when I was making my first record, which is released under my full, government name, as they say, Matthew Silberman. That's called Questionable Creatures. That was on my own imprint, DeSoto Sound Factory. And through the process of making that, it was the first time I was in the room for every mixing session, you know, obviously every recording session, but every mixing session. And actually, I remember the drummer on the record is an amazing drummer named Tommy Crane. If you guys aren't familiar, great artist. He has his own music out on several other releases. I think on Aaron Park's recent Ropeadope release. And he came into the studio for one of the mixing sessions on a song called Ghosts of the Prairie. And he had this idea like, oh, what if we double up the snare and add this like kind of dub delay to it? And, you know, we messed with it. We got the delay right. The mixer and engineer was Michael Perez Cisneros, amazing mixing engineer and recording engineer in Brooklyn, where I was living at the time. I, you know, was still in New York. And even just that little tweak really opened my mind up to like, wow, what else is possible if just this snare delay and extra reverb just changes the vibe that much and suddenly kind of makes things coalesce more. Like, what else could I do? And it was at that same time, this was like 2012, maybe even 2011, when we were making the record. And I was really getting introduced to like a lot more new music, like artists like Flying Lotus, you know, LA based, who's, you know, I'm a huge fan of. And actually in high school, I was playing a lot with, you know, who's now known as Thundercat, Steven Bruner. And he was the one that actually introduced me to Lotus, to his music and in person. And, you know, it just kind of like opened my mind. Like he has this sort of cosmic, infinite sound that's very informed by jazz. And, you know, if you don't already know, for some of you, his, you know, I believe his aunt is Alice Coltrane. So it's like a very deep lineage that he comes from. And there was just something about that sound that I knew I had to get into. And then another great artist named Sleeper's Work, whose name is William Flynn, who I play with in a band called the Prigs. I was playing with his music, and it's also very open, you know, electronic based, but he would use my saxophone on it. And those two people really opened my mind to what else is possible and continuing in this lineage, because it's, you know, it's the Black American music kind of canon, I suppose. It's like, obviously jazz is a huge part of it, but it's continued. And we, you know, we have hip hop, electronic music, techno, like all these other forms that I think all kind of come from that same culture. And so I was like, what if it's not just me playing saxophone? What if it's me using Ableton Live, using an EWI, using all these different sounds? And so making that record really opened my mind up to thinking, okay, I need to know how to manipulate these sounds myself. I need to be at the control desk like Mike Perez Cisneros was, and know how to, like, you know, EQ this how I want it, or mix these things, add the reverb and do that. And it just set me off on a journey to, you know, I got Ableton Live, I got an interface, microphone and MIDI controller, and just kind of went from there. And, you know, just kept working at it, and it just kept developing. And, you know, I think this release now, Journey to Los Angeles, you know, the new song that came out today, Burn Alive, I think that's really just an evolution of Questionable Creatures, and an evolution of just exploring, you know, Black American music, and just being a part of this, and trying to find myself in it. So.
Excellent segue. I think it's time to listen.
Awesome.
We'll go ahead and cue that up, and we'll come back and chat about it in a second. Well.
Bloodstained, moonlight, closing in. Wolves are hungry, back again. We're gonna burn alive. We're gonna burn alive. dangerous streets will swallow up the meek, left defenseless in the den of thieves. They all told us we should count our blessings. We did not believe. Choking underwater, no one breathes. Living in shattered dreams. We're gonna burn alive. Living in shattered dreams. We're gonna burn alive. Living in shattered dreams.
Uh, Fabian Brown, what are we listening to?
So we just heard "Burn Alive" from the artist Narducci from the album that's coming out on July 31st, titled "Journey to Los Angeles." Hold on, guys. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry about that. So, quick question for you, Matt. Journey to Los Angeles, obviously New York City native, right? Transplanting over to the left coast. What's the deal? What's the essence of the album title? I'm going to assume it has something to do with your migration over, but tell us a little bit more about the title of the album.
Yeah, well, so actually, sorry to correct you. I'm actually an LA native. I moved to New York to go to the new school, and then I was there for 14 years. But I do have roots in New York. My dad's from New York, grandparents from New York, so definitely a huge connection with that city, and I love it dearly. But definitely an LA boy. So the title and the meaning of the album is sort of twofold. Like in part, it's a bit of a musical autobiography for myself. So it starts off with a short intro track called Take a Left Turn at the Moon. It's kind of a reference in part to like growing up. My mom always used to call me her space child because I was kind of always just, daydreaming, just kind of out there a little bit. And so that song, it's got a very spacey kind of like Vangelis vibe, and she actually is singing on the track. So my mom is an opera singer, and I grew up, even since I was in utero, I've been hearing opera and going to her concerts and rehearsals and whatnot. So I just on that track heard her voice kind of soaring over this synth pattern, and then that brings us to the track we heard just now, "Burn Alive," which to me is sort of like me coming back to LA and sort of reinventing myself. As my life in New York was so primarily focused on playing the saxophone, playing jazz, playing in different bands from rock to neo soul to punk to ska to whatever, all kinds of different music I got to play. And when I moved back to LA a few years back, it was really just about really producing, getting into electronic music and R&B and hip hop and things like that. And so Burn Alive is kind of like I'm, literally burning alive, rising back up like the phoenix, and sort of like becoming this new version of myself. Then the next track, "I Am Free," featuring Aki Burmese, that to me is sort of a statement of like, okay, I've reinvented myself. Now I'm free to just be myself. I'm not concerned with, sort of pleasing the jazz police or the bebop police anymore. I'm not worried about what anyone thinks, if they think my music's cool enough or hip enough. It's really just about pure expression and just trying to really just let what's in my mind and my heart and my soul out. So that's kind of that next step. Then it segues The Sun featuring Jeff Taylor. And, you know, there's the chorus that he actually improvised on that about, you know, we are family, I am family. And it just it felt very poignant, you know, like, because family is everything, you know, whether it's your blood, whether it's the family you make in life, whether it's the Ropeadope family, you know, it's so important. Community is so important. As humans, we need that so much to thrive and to be healthy. And then the last track on the EP is called Let It Go, featuring Shay St. Victor. And that is kind of like, okay, like you've processed all this, now just let it go, let it into the world, let other people be inspired by it, you know, hear it, have it move them. And also just on a personal level, just learn to let things go, not hold on to your own issues, your own trauma that, you know, as human beings, we all have our own version of that. So I think it's important that we just go inside ourselves, learn to just let those things go eventually, and grow and just open up and open our hearts. And, you know, like it's been said earlier, love is the answer. You know, it's all about love. And I think Journey to Los Angeles is just me trying to spread love and take you on a journey with me.
Absolutely powerful, absolutely powerful. So guys, again, that is Journey to Los Angeles, set for release on July 31st of this year. You can visit downloads.ropeadope.com to support all of our musicians here on Bandcamp Day. You know, along with Narducci, you know, Kin for Life has their track out today, Black in America. You know, support that, check that out. But I can't leave my man David Whitman out of the mix. You know, his album came out in December, Soul Flow. So please make sure you support all independent musicians that are here on the line. And like Lewis said, man, sometimes it's just as easy as giving them some love, giving them some shine, you know, letting them know that you're supporting them, letting them know that you're streaming the music, letting them know that you've downloaded, sharing it with your friends. Like, it's really, sometimes it's really just that simple.
We're going to drop the links to each of these projects right in the chat. Fabian, if you could do that as we wrap up here. Just want to say thank you to all of you for coming and hanging out with us a little bit. It was moving and empowering and wonderful, and I hope you all are safe and healthy and keep a diamond in your mind. And to the fans that are out there, please visit downloads.ropeadope.com, visit artistfirstrecords.bandcamp.com. Check out all the wonderful people in this community. And as Fabian said, send them some love, some likes, some shares, some money, all of the above, or whatever you can do. And just thanks for supporting independent music. And we are just going to keep on rolling over here and keep doing this. And so check back, subscribe to our channels, subscribe, like us on Facebook. Is that still a thing? Yeah. Go to MySpace. No.
Stop it.
I got an email with somebody had a MySpace page yesterday, but we are not on MySpace, folks. I don't think anybody here is on MySpace. So subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Stay in touch, and everybody be safe.
Peace
Thank
out.
you guys.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Metaphors, synonyms for old beef that turned all jerky for twerking white girls that were nerdy.